Okay, find an inverse. Do you remember what our steps were for finding inverse? Replace the f of x with a y. Switch the x and the y. Solve for y. Subtract 4, divide by 2. Okay, remember that a function and its inverse work like this. So if the function, the inverse does exactly the opposite of what the function does. So for example, if I came up here, if I was given this on the test and I had these multiple choice answers, this is what I would do, honestly, personally, for myself. I would say, okay, let me try f of 0. What is f of 0? It equals 4, right? So I should plug into every one of my answers and see which one I plug in 4, I get 0. Right? Which one of these, when you plug it in, plug in x equals 4, you get 0. Only this one here. That has to be the inverse. Right? If you plug it into something and don't get 0, it cannot be the inverse. So you could save yourself finding inverses if it's a multiple choice. Just if you're unclear with one number, try another number. But just it should work that way. It will work that way. The only confusing one that I've seen before is if you let's say you started with y equals x squared, right? And then you switch the x and the y and you solve for y, you get y equals plus or minus the square root of x. So remember that if one of the options is plus or minus the square root of x and the other one is just the square root of x, you got to take the plus or minus because it was a parabola, unless they limited the domain or something like that, you got to take that. But this is when they're finding an inverse, if it's in this format, and it almost always is, almost always it's a multiple choice. Just plug in a value for x and then take that number and plug it in until you find the one that gives you that value that you plugged in.